Hey, my name is David Walston. Thank you for jumping on the channel here. So I'm going to just be a quick conversation with you about filing income tax extensions. What it does, what it doesn't do, why your CPA, or if you're a client of mine, why I would file an extension for you, and then 3, what the IRS thinks of extensions. So what an extension does is it extends your ability to file your tax return by 6 months. So instead of being the due date of April 18th, which is this year because there's a holiday on the Monday and the 15th falls on a weekend. So it gives you another 6 months to file your tax returns. So it pushes it off to October. What it doesn't do is it doesn't extend the time to pay any tax that might be due on your tax return when you file it eventually, either in October or even if you file it on the 18th. So for me personally, we tried to do some estimates for our clients of what they might owe. So if you generally owe tax year over year and you're getting an extension filed, or you're filing an extension, more than likely you'll pay about the same amount of tax that you would normally pay, but you need to pay that on the 18th, and then your tax return can get filed. So for me, why a CPA would file an extension for our client, there's a couple different reasons. One, for me personally, over the last several years, I've seen more and more clients come in, and it's been crazy the amount of tax returns we do now. And it's because there's not enough people in this field. We're having a shortage of employees and people to do work. And so I want to be able to provide the highest level of quality of service to clients, and that oftentimes means that I'm going to have to file an extension because I don't have the time to go through a tax return like I want to. And so instead of rushing through it and sending it off to the IRS, I want to make sure I take the time. And then part 2 of that, we let all of our clients look at their tax returns before they file them. Any tax preparer or CPA who doesn't do that is actually incorrect. They need to make sure they're obtaining the signature form from you saying that you have authorized them that you file their tax return. If you have not provided that to them, they can't file their return. So we want to make sure you have time to look over your tax return as CPAs, as tax preparers. And so oftentimes, especially as we start off in April, we'll be filing tax returns even for clients that we may be able to get filed in time, but we want to make sure that they're not late just in case they take a couple extra days to look over their tax return. So to me, it's a benefit to my clients to be able to go through and just file as many extensions for them as possible for any returns that we haven't fully completed, so that no one's late and that they have time to look over their tax return. So the last thing is the IRS. How do they view extensions? Well, an extension doesn't increase your risk of audit, doesn't increase your risks, doesn't raise any red flags with the IRS at all. A lot of people file extensions, and there's a wide variety of reasons. A lot of them can be that if you own a business, or you own multiple businesses, or you're partners with multiple businesses, a lot of business tax returns get extended, and so you're not able to file your individual tax return until you get that K-1 from that business tax return that was extended. So the IRS has no issues with you filing an extension. It doesn't harm you in any way as a tax preparer. So an extension is overall a benefit if your tax preparer or CPA is filing 140. So, to quick conclusion, extensions are a good thing. They don't increase your risk of audit. They don't raise any red flags with the IRS. They provide an extension of time to file. They do not provide an extension on time to pay. So if you need to make a payment, then you need to make it on the 18th. If you're a client of mine, I'm going to try to give you an estimate of what that payment's going to be if we can't file your tax return. If you have another tax preparer or CPA you're working with, you should just ask them for an estimate of what might be due on the 18th. Otherwise, if they file an extension, that's probably a good thing. Thank you for your time. Feel free to leave comments down below.